Whether I shall turn out to be the hero of my own life, or whether that station will be held by anybody else, these pages must show. That's the opening line from David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. Boy, 2 references to my favorite author in the first week. This podcast is showing promise. Then again, it is the season for things Dickensian, or at least the tail end. This is our first Saturday on 11/11, and Saturdays here are about stories. They can be books, TV shows, movies, amusing or inspiring anecdotes. But today, we're all about you and your story. Whether we turn out to be the heroes of our own lives is not the result of circumstances. It's the result of the theme word with which we started this week. That word is choice. Our choices are what determine our progress and help to shape us. As we close out our first week together, I'm going to take a moment to fill you in on some of the backstory of this podcast and the choices that led to it. It all derives from the Peyton Drake Omni Tale series that commences with the browbeaten 14-year-old who makes a choice to escape his stifling home life by going through a portal to an interdimensional school. That school, the Academy of Omnisophical Arts and Sciences, is generally referred to as the Omni Ocademy, because the full name is something of a mouthful, and because I have a hard time typing the word omnisophical. What started out as a fun little fantasy story has evolved into an actual school, with online training courses, academic lessons, and in-person theme events. In fact, I refer to it as a Pinocchio school, because it started fake and fictional, and it turned into a real boy, or a real school in this case. The first novella in the 49-book series was set to launch at a sold-out party on March 21st, 2020. I invested all my money in the launch and attendant multi-month activities. 2 days before launch day, the state in which I live went into lockdown due to the pandemic. My launch tanked, as did all of the fanfare I'd planned on. Instead, the next several books which I'd published as pre-releases went unnoticed. I knew I had a choice. I could wallow in woe-is-me misery, which I did for a day, or I could pick myself up and do something useful, which I did beginning the second day. I was friends with a few people who owned tea rooms, the eateries that serve scones and little sandwiches with the crust cut off and people wear hats. Anyway, I was fully aware that tea rooms, which are all about service and experience, not the kind of place you order food to go, could not weather the pandemic storm without some sort of miracle. So I dedicated the next year to a Save the Tea Room campaign, and over the course of the pandemic, hosted 100 sold-out events at these venues, and they all made it through without closing their doors. During that time, I rued the fact that my own little venture, the Ocademy, was languishing. But I didn't realize that I'd planted seeds, and they were beginning to take root. Through my events, I made friends with a few people who have since become integral to what I would end up doing. One became a board member of the Academy's tiny arts nonprofit Whimsicality, through which we've been able to give tens of thousands of dollars to creative people in need. The kids' philanthropy activity I'd been cherishing on the back burner for 11 years was finally able to come to fruition as a result. I connected with people who have ended up teaching interesting and whimsical courses for the online Academy Annex. And a whole bunch of other neato stuff has come of it all. Truth be told, I never thought of myself as an author, and have not had the desire to be one. I wanted to do something more interactive and immersive, per my background, and I wanted to help kids enjoy learning in a way I never did. Moreover, I wanted people to get to stretch their creative wings, and for families and communities to come together. The choices I've made since that fateful, seemingly fatal, day back in March 2020 have increasingly resulted in my dreams coming true. I pulled the books from publication, and over the last year, completely redid the first 7-book series to include interactive elements in the digital versions and immersive tactile inserts in the print versions. Even more exciting, we now have enrichment lessons to go with the books, and currently have a free crash course for parents called Win Over Your Reluctant Reader, as well as a how-to program on the magic of immersive learning, a hands-on practicum to help parents get their kids to fall in love with reading and learning. We've published anthologies where people who'd always dreamed of writing got their wish of seeing their name in print. We've started up our tongue-in-cheek, previously dormant, animal aid program called Fabled Creatures and Endangered Monster Rescue. We've even finally launched our back burner Fairy Godmother certification, a modern mentoring program with an Omni twist. So what's the point of this long-winded story? It's that our choices, even our little ones each day, move us in one direction or the other, toward what we desire or away from it. I won't go so far as to say I've become the hero of my own life, not yet anyway, but I will say that the business choices I've made since the pandemic put a stop to my plans have been the best decisions I've ever made. They are truly making my dreams come true. So in this new year of new possibilities and opportunities, what choices will you make? Today's tiny task is to think of a character in a story who you would want to emulate. What is it about them you admire? Come up with one step you can take today to be more like them. Write it down in your 1111 diary. Act on it, and let us know how it went. Your rewards today are one Glee of Omni currency, a little Heroes badge linked in the description box, and 20% off on our 100-day journal called Your Heroic Journey. The journal's daily topics coincide with our first Omnitale series, the one mentioned earlier, and are meant for adults and the situations they face. Stick with us long enough, and we think you will indeed realize you have become, or are becoming, the hero of your own life. Cheers to all you heroes. And don't forget, we have our first surprise special guest on the show tomorrow. Cherish te som for now. Tuta.